privatized following the PIA. And because of that, people expect that the NNPC would not function as a government entity that would, want to control or decide what happens and what happens. It should have equal, a level playing ground like every other marketer in the business who can source for the product, however you're going to get it from wherever you get it, and then you supply. So what is different about this one? Why is the NNPC Limited the sole distributor of petrol from Dangote Refinery? What's changed?
Let me assume that we are still at the pilot phase. But it doesn't make sense to me for NNPC to be the sole off-taker of Dangote refined product. So I would assume that this is still the pilot phase. Maybe we are still the ceremonial part of the product being released. But when we are done with this, we should allow marketers full access to the product. I don't think there is any game saying that NNPC will be the sole off-taker. That is not going to be possible.
So at the moment, you think it's just maybe a test run, and that's why we have what we have now?
Yeah, maybe there is a crude swap agreement for now. Maybe when that is completed, they will open up the...
Well, can't a test run be done with multiple marketers involved in the system? How difficult is it to have several other players in the industry access the refinery and buy the product? I thought there used to be an agreement.
To get food in Naira. So let me assume, but I don't want to believe that there is any monopolistic agenda towards this. So let's assume that the crude swap agreement for now is what is laying around. So after this policies, we'll study the...
Well, Mr. Nwoko, I would say we do not have the luxury of assumption, and that's why I want to make this example. Diesel was produced by the Dangote Refinery. Okay? We did not see the NNPC Limited saying, we are the sole off-takers of diesel from this refinery. In fact, there were conversations between Dangote Refinery and marketers, back and forth about the price of diesel. I think it ended at about 900 or 800 and something, thereabout. I can't remember. But then we had that. They did not need a pilot test to figure out if we can do this smoothly. The product was there, and the company says, hey, this is what we're selling, you're buying, and that's it. All you need to is come pay and get your product. And that's how it's working. I don't know if that has changed, but that has been the situation. So why then for petrol, we now have a special, in quote, assuming a pilot test? Is it that they are trying to figure out whether we can safely, move petrol from the refinery to the filling stations?
For me, as I rightly said, those are just speculations. There's no categorical statement that speaks that no marketer can leave product from Dangote Refinery. For now, that might not be possible because I think there are pilot phase agreements they are trying to complete. When that is done, the sector is fully deregulated, so whatever happens to every related product will happen. It's not any case saying that the PIA has stated clearly how the sector should operate, and that would apply. Whatever applies to SGS will apply to them.
Have there been meetings between the marketers and Dangote Refinery?
That I cannot ascertain.
So for PENGASSON, you're not concerned about whether or not, we have discussions and agreements. There was such meetings and agreements for diesel. So for petrol, you're not aware of any meetings or agreements or conversations, at least, between the refinery and the marketers?
Not to my knowledge.
What about how you intend to, for the time being, now that the NNPC is a sole off-taker for the time being, like you said, perhaps just to run a test, what then happens to other marketers who have to get the product? What do they have to do?
NNPC have repeated that claim in their publication. There's no plan to make NNPC a sole off-taker. Those are, I think, speculations. And if that is happening, the National Minister of Petroleum Nigeria, and I'm sure they are not going to allow that to happen. The union will also study that in a couple of weeks, and then we will wait and see if that is what will happen. We expect that the coming on stream of Dangote Refinery will help to alleviate some of these unnecessary sufferings we claim to be from the landing cost, as we speculated last time. So now that it's now a refining country, and there is a naira for crude. So I think where we should be focusing now is how to ensure that the product doesn't get smuggled out of the country, so that the benefit of refining country Nigerians is for me. And I think that is where the focus is channeled now, to make sure that the borders are well protected, and the Nigerians see the benefit of refining country. And if we are doing a naira crude, I think we should have a reduced cost of the product.
Well, Mr. Walker, I'd beg to differ to a certain degree. Yes, we should have concerns about the product, crossing the borders and leaving the country. But what's even very pressing now is the fact that we've not even been able to decide within the country how this product is moving and how far it's going to get. If you are saying you are not confirming that the NNPC is the sole distributor, it's on the news. It's not open secret. It's everywhere on the papers that, the NNPC, and this was the meeting that was held with Dangote Refinery, and the NNPC will be buying off the product from the refinery. That is not hidden. It's known. It's on papers. In fact, this morning, if not yesterday, the spokesperson of the NNPC, Olufemi, also confirmed that it was paying the Dangote Refinery in dollars for this September offtake. Now, I would like you to give us an insight. The prices that we are seeing, many were hoping that we might see a reasonable drop, except for me, though. I never thought it was going to be a reasonable drop, regardless of whether we're producing locally or not. And clearly, to prove me almost right, what we have does not really show that, the product was produced locally and the crude came locally. The prices that we are seeing, 960 naira in parts of Rivers State, is what is going to be sold. And this would be from the NNPC filling stations. What are the implications of this? What is affecting the price? Why is it not going lower than expected?
We agree with that these the products are just getting to the market by, I think, on Sunday or thereabout, 2 days ago. So let's not speculate so much. Let's allow the...
No, it's not speculation. The NNPC said it is selling for 960 naira per litre. It's a statement from the NNPC.
Another marketer cannot sell less than that. Let us not allow speculations to drive the prices.
You would forgive Rivers people and Nigerians if the NNPC, who is getting directly from Dangote Refinery, is selling at this price. The imagination of anybody would be that where would another marketer who is not getting from the Dangote Refinery now, because in quote, it's a test run, how much would it sell? In fact, if you go onto the Punch newspaper, marketers are saying that, the price of petrol might go up even more because they might be forced to source for the product elsewhere, in quote, importation. So, where does that leave us?
I can also quote for you where NNPC has said that the Dangote Refinery and any other domestic refinery are free to sell directly to any marketer on a willing buyer, willing seller basis, which is the current practice for any fully deregulated product. NNPC Limited has no desire or intention to become a distributor for any entity in a free market environment, and therefore the notion of becoming a sole operator does not arise.
All right.
Those are on their website.
What then is the disparity? The disparity here is simple. Why do we not have the product for other marketers, and why do we have other marketers saying that they would have to import?
I just told you now that you agree with me that there are some marketers have products which they imported before now. We're just starting to get products from Dangote Refinery. Let's allow them to exhaust what they have already put in their stock. And then when they are able to access product directly from Dangote Refinery, we can now come back to this discussion and see if there is no impact on the price reduction.
All right. We are going to take a few messages on Facebook. We'll also open the phone lines and take some calls afterwards. But let me first remind those who are listening that we are streaming live on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That is the handle. George Nwoko, the PENGASSON Zonal Chairman, is with us on the show this morning. And you've heard him respond to some of the questions. I'm sure you also have questions in your head trying to understand what the situation really is. Hopefully, some of those questions will be answered in the course of our conversation. So far, he has said quite a lot. And one of the major points he has made here is let's not be in a hurry to conclude that the NNPC doesn't want other marketers to lift product from the Dangote Refinery because the PIA would not allow that. There is a put-out plan as to how this should operate. Maybe, he says, what they are doing now is a test run. So let's wait and see what the coming days would bring. But my question still is, while we are waiting for this test run, how much would people who do not have a NNPC filling station close to them buy the product? Chile Edwin says there is no need to panic about the price from Dangote Refinery because the most important thing is the availability of the product, and the coming days will get the prices adjusted downwards due to competition. Amiti Prince says it's quite unfortunate that something that God blessed us with is now becoming a problem on how to handle it. How do people expect Dangote fuel to be cheap when his cement is expensive? We'll take a short commercial. Mr. Nwoko, please stay on the line for us. As soon as we return, we'll respond to some calls from the listener.
Stay with us. Nigeria Info. We'll 92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, conversation continues here in the morning crossfire, 29 minutes past 8. My name is Ifeami Andrew, and the PENGASSON Zonal chairman is still with us this morning, Mr. John Nwoko. Sir, thank you for staying on the line.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll just continue with a few more messages before we open the phone lines. And on Facebook, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. If you haven't joined us, you can do that. Please, we're streaming now, so be a part of the conversation. The interesting thing is you get to drop your comments real time. And don't forget to also click on the share button so we get as many as possible to get involved on the conversation. Hope Echezu says the best thing is division. If the government isn't ready to restructure this country called Nigeria so that every state will manage their own resources, then they're not ready. Abasi Afiok says NNPC is the problem of the oil sector in this country. Why must they be the sole distributor of Dangote petrol? Simon and there says, let the middleman be eliminated. NNPC should allow filling station owners go buy directly from Dangote. Are they not tired of all this? Daniel Monday Udofyong says, Nigerian politicians, I wonder sometimes what is wrong with them. They only think about themselves. I pray our ancestors help us. Victor says, I'm tired of this country. How can a country why can a country not own its own refinery but depend on the refinery of an individual? Nigerians, we don't enter one chance. This is from Mitiu Oyegbade. I mean, the messages are on and on. Like, we can't go through all of them. Quite a number of them. The phone numbers to call are 0817-923-0002. Or you call us up on 0817-923-0003. Thank God Ability says Dangote and NNPC are playing with Nigerians. Lawrence Friday says this country is a very funny one. One man builds a refinery and the whole country can't make a single existing refinery work. Oji OKCC says NNPC is a major problem due to lack of political will. The NNPC has killed the refinery with bad policies. Promise Wilson says the first batch of crude that was refined by Dangote Refinery was imported from the US or so. Please, I want to know if NNPC crude supply supplies crude supply to the refinery will drop the petrol price. I'm pretty sure that we have all of those in the news earlier. Dangote Refinery clarified that it got product. The federal government had made an announcement, millions of barrels of crude that was supplied to the Dangote Refinery. So whether this one is coming from the crude that they got from US, we do not know. There were reports that they were going to import crude from the US. Did they eventually do that? And some other African countries, not just the US. But there were also confirmations that they got crude from within the country. Okay. Before I go on to my guest, let's take a few questions from the listener first, and so we get your response. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. The problem now for many is, how do we access the product at a cheap price? If at the moment, because of this in quote test run, if I'll borrow borrowing the language of my guest, it then means that in the period where we have this test going on, we are solely going to depend on the Dangote, the NNPC filling stations, who would be selling at 960 naira per liter, looking at the price that the NNPC put out there. But people who do not have the NNPC filling stations close to them would have to find alternatives. And that would mean that they might have to buy for well over 1,000 naira or 1,000 naira at least. And now that's where the problem comes in. How long this test period would last, we don't know. Are marketers already concerned? I mean, clearly, if you follow some headlines from the news, the marketers are already concerned and are saying they would have to source this product any other way. Victor is in Rumukrushi. Let us hear your thoughts this morning quickly. Hello, Victor.
Good morning.
Yes.
Now, my first question is this. Why is the Nigerian government playing around our refinery till now, since last year? This November, the refinery will work. January refinery will work. February refinery will work. March till now. Our refinery, and now we are now using Dangote Refinery as a reference point every day. Now, Tinubu promised us that when we remove subsidy, fuel will regulate himself. Today, the fuel is not regulating. It is NNPC that are regulating, even the one of the Dangote. If you ask my opinion, we are a Gonka people.
All right, Victor. JJ, next from Rumigbo. Good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning.
You're welcome. Go on, JJ.
Let me greet your guest. Andrew, if you remember, was it 1914 or 1912 where we have the Royal Niger Company? That's the situation we are finding ourselves right now in the hands of the NNPC. But they are now the Alpha and the Omega. Andrew, some days ago, you interviewed the FC, whatever, they said they want to do price control to avoid hijacking. Is it not the same thing they said they want to fight against that the NNPC is doing right now? Andrew, I was thinking that marketers were registering with Dangote so that they know the amount of marketers they have and distribute fuel to them. Suddenly, the Royal Niger Company came, knocked all of them off, set price, and now move in with over 300 trucks. If they put this energy they are putting now, they are Tefloning. What are you Tefloning, for goodness sake? The refineries, you have 4 refineries that will produce more than this of Dangote. You are not Tefloning it. All you do is to load truck, carry, to exploit the people like the Royal Niger Company. Who does that, for goodness sake, now? Now, you not take for Dangote. Dangote is supposed to sell based on their cost of production. But what do I know? At the end of the day, you will not be the one to set price, exploit the people.
All right, JJ, thank you. Another thing to point out is, remember that there were issues about selling crude to the Dangote Refinery in dollars. And I think the government was able to address that, and it was sold in Naira. So it's shocking to hear that the NNPC is saying that it bought the product from Dangote Refinery in dollars. Why would it even buy in dollars in a country where Naira is the currency that we operate with? Austin from Alu, good morning.
Good morning. My brother Andrew, they were saying Abaka government is the worst government ever. We never knew that Tinubu government here. And his brother called Buhari are the worst government ever in this country. Yeah. I'm sure in this country that someone will tell me I'll go and buy fuel at the rate of 1,500 naira, 1,400 naira. It is our own local oil now, the $14. You understand? So that means we are competing with American dollars. If they could buy dollar at the rate of 1,600, they will buy fuel at the rate of 1,300. That means we are going nowhere. So the whole 30 state now will depend on only one sole businessman to distribute fuel for us. I think we are going nowhere. It's getting tighter. We should either we should break out the country or we rally and push that man away from that problem. It's not doing well for us. This is how we do. Is this the way you bring this message to us that we should hold on with it? No, it's very wrong, bro. It's very wrong.
Temple from Echie, good morning.
Good morning once again, the very distinguished family.
All right, Temple.
I want to quickly ask your guest, Mr. George Nwoko. Sir, is there no way we can do away with this middleman syndrome that is putting us in this tight corner? And at the same time, the very distinguished family, Andrew, you will agree with me that these same marketers have come out in several occasions to accuse NNPC, let the military, of their own high-handedness and that kind of trying to dominate or who is the distributor. Then if your guest is telling me there is nothing like that, why can't these marketers, this private marketer, the very distinguished Femi Andrew, go to the Dangote refinery, sort out their petrol on their own self, then tell us what they will say at their own price rate? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sure my guest will respond, but first let's hear from Anselm in Elele. Okay, we'll go to Echie Dakuku. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Nigeria Info.
Good morning.
This is Dakuku from Apokic. I want to ask you against question. Is it anyhow marketers can load fuel without construction of an NNPC, loading by the Dangote Refinery without consulting any NNPC. Is it any law that they will not load without consulting an NNPC? Secondly, I want to ask him a question. As they are talking setting price, why must they be setting price for certain states and the other local government in the state? Why not everything become one filling station should be set the same price as other ones are selling the whole nation? Why they are dividing this will say this will say this? Are they coming to make Nigeria better, or they are worsening the condition of Nigeria now and seeing this condition of Nigeria? Are they coming to make Nigeria to be good, or they are coming to make Nigeria to become the worst? That's the question I'm asking your guests in that studio, and that one, what is the problem of Nigeria not to set up their refinery in order so that Nigerians should benefit than to depend on another person refinery? That's the question I want to ask you. Thank you. This is Akuku from our pocket.
All right, Akuku, thank you. We have Alison and Mufasa on the line. All right, after Alison and Mufasa, then we'll come to Mr. Nwoko to respond. I think a few questions have been directed towards him. Mufasa, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. Quick one. I want to say that it is very clear now and obvious that NNPC is more or less a secret organization that nobody knows what is happening within the organization. But I want to ask, PENGASSON, what is the state of Port Harcourt Refinery currently as we speak? And secondly, if NNPC will be selling at $9.50, what is the cost that the independent market and other petrol stations will be selling their own petrol? Because NNPC petrol station, we have just few of them. And if they'll be selling $9.50, how then will other petrol stations that are not NNPC survive this petroleum price that NNPC has fixed?
All right. And then Alison from Omedeme. Good morning. Omademe, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ant. God bless you. My greetings to your guest this morning. I just have a very simple question to ask. Why would Nigerian government depend on an individual to supply our fuel? Why would we depend on Dangote? That is one. Two, why is Nigerian government so adamant to fix our three refineries capable of producing the quantity of fuel that's needed in this country? Why are they adamant in fixing that refineries? These are my first questions.
All right, we would pause. Zion and Chima, you'd have to wait for just a few minutes. Let's go to my guest so he responds to some of the questions, beginning with the last one. What is the state of the refinery in Port Harcourt? Does PENGASSON have any idea?
Okay, Andrew, I have said it severally. The old refinery that is being rehabilitated, I keep emphasizing on the old because the 60,000 barrels refinery capacity is the one that is being rehabilitated. They have all it takes to take off. I think it's basically some technical issues. They have products, they have crude, the reservoir, they have gone up to 95%. I think there are some minor technical finish up they are doing.
And that was something that they said to PENGASSON?
No, I have been there a couple of times. Speaking for myself. I've gone on inspection to the refinery.
All right. And then one of the other callers asked, is there a law stopping private marketers to say you can't go to the Dangote Refinery and get product?
There's no law. The PIA is clear.
So why aren't we seeing other marketers go there?
The laws are there and people keep supporting.
So why are we not seeing other marketers go to the refinery? Why do we have only the NNPC with over more than 100 trucks?
We don't have to conclude that. And we just have a few days of the startup. Let's allow this to run for a week, a month, and then when we are sure and we have confirmed that no marketer is allowed to come and take products, then we can.
Was this the situation when diesel was first rolled out of the Dangote Refinery? Was this how it worked? What we're seeing now, was it what it was when diesel was rolled out of the Dangote Refinery?
Diesel had been regulated a long time ago. You can agree with me. So it's not the same approach. Diesel was fully deregulated long time ago before PMS. So let us not compare apple and orange.
But you would agree that it's more than a year now since we had the deregulation in the petroleum sector.
Yeah, but Dangote Refinery is just coming upstream 2 days ago. So it's not, you can regulate, and the policy papers are just coming out, and then the implementation is what we are seeing in Dangote Refinery.
So the rolling out of diesel and marketers going to the Dangote Refinery to get diesel was easy because of, you're saying, the deregulation that's been done years ago. That's why marketers could easily go to the refinery and get diesel.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then. Another question that came in from one of the listeners was, what exactly now is the situation for other marketers? What are we doing? What are they going to do with products for now that we are still going to wait from what you said for a couple of weeks before we can confirm?
They will list products for Dangote Refinery, no doubt. I said it earlier. We cannot allow only NNPC to be the sole offtaker. It's not going to work. We will continue to observe what is happening there, and then if need be, we will intervene.
All right, a few messages on WhatsApp. Someone says, why PENGASSON in conjunction with NLC why did PENGASSON in conjunction with NLC not protest and even embark on a strike against what the NNPC is doing? Ugo General Justice is asking, oh, you heard my guest. Let's give it time and see. But he says it's not possible that the NNPC alone would say it wants to be the sole distributor of the product. Please, the PENGASSON man over there is not straightforward from what he's saying. Aminu is the one saying that on WhatsApp. Tonye says, one of the major problems in this country is people who cannot speak truth to power because of interest. People who always speak in support of government with bad policies. For me, your guest is not answering the questions. He's rather trying to defend the policies of the NNPC, being the sole off-taker of Dangote petrol. Aibatonye, that message came in from you. We'll see another one here from Good Luck says, which filling stations are NNPC Limited going to be using to sell the products? The NNPC filling stations scattered all over, and some of them are franchises. So the ones that have handed over to Orlando, who are these NNPC shareholders? Because it will be highly criminal for people in government to use their names, families, cronies, and yet NNPC is still dictating for other private entities. Obi sent in that message. I'll see if I can take one more on WhatsApp before we go back to Facebook. This one says, good morning. I'm asking this question, which no one seems to answer. Why is it that the SWA NNPC, now NNPC Limited, which functions cuts across regulation, exploration, refining, sales, and so on, could not function effectively since 1990 date, but want to play the role of middleman in Dangote Refinery? Please, they should hide their face and allow Dangote operate its refinery effectively. George, you sent that one in on WhatsApp, and then we quickly get back to Facebook. Simon Oscar says, Sachs says, the truth is that the federal government and Dangote know what they are doing. After all the noise the masses will make, they will not change their minds, and nothing will happen. Stanley says, the government and Dangote Refinery know what they are doing. Eric Korepamo says, NNPC is now the turncoat, as the Jamaicans will say. Nigerians, shine your eyes. All right, we'll see if we can take one or two more calls, and then we wrap things up on the show this morning. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. I'll take those again. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Call us up now on any of those numbers and join in on the conversation. My guest is PENGASSON Zonal Chairman, Mr. George Nwoko. Akanto is in Bori. Akanto, good morning.
Andrew, happy earning day. Is raining over there, Andrew?
I wouldn't know because I'm locked up in the studio. So
yes, the issue of petroleum, as we said here, Andrew, and you have been forecasting, you are not a prophet that all these things that is playing out today, you've said it times with that number on this particular platform, and it's coming to manifestation. Andrew, there is no doubt that we are not getting it right here in Nigeria. look at what the NNPC they are doing, NNPC they are doing now in a private firm. But let me just ask a question. Yeah, in the coming days, we will buy the petroleum product at the exorbitant rate. I'm telling you, before December, we'll buy it at the rate of 2,000 per liter of oil. But I want to ask, I don't know what is NNPC. Because here in Buri, we can see a filling station that is painted with the color NNPC. But in it is not NNPC. It is an independent marketer that owns it. But in the color, we don't see the color NNPC. Is there any way, I want to ask again, is there any way to check this people with this moonlighting in the system so that we can know the particular filling station that is owned by NNPC?
All right, I can't tell you.
And again, okay, thank you.
Right, quickly, we don't have time. I'll just answer that for you. So some of the filling stations are not owned per se by NNPC, but then the owners of those filling stations get product from NNPC, and it's called a franchise thing. So the company gives you the rights to use their name, all right, for your business, and then they supply products to you, so you sell. That's what you're seeing there, right? It's not really owned, but then it's a franchise. So you can have your filling station, and then you have the name of the NNPC, and they are supplying you products. Okonkwo from Rumokuta, that would be the last call we're taking on the show this morning. Hello, Okonkwo. Good morning.
Good morning, Brett.
Yeah, go on.
Quick one. Our guest, you asked him two questions. Why NNPC should be in charge of Dangote fuel, and why the price of Dangote fuel should be now 120 naira. He dodged those questions. He downplayed them. Brother Femi, let me tell you that the Nigerian citizens are conquered people, and they will. This is the beginning of their suffering in this country. Thank you.
All right, Akunkwa, thank you very much. Back to you now, Mr. George, in less than 3 minutes. How do we go forward from here? What do we need to get right for us to see petrol being sold again? In fact, I think I should ask it this way. Are we ever going to see petrol sold for at least 200 naira in this country? It used to be 160, 120. I'm saying now, if we are going to put together the inflation and whatever around the world, are we ever going to see petrol being sold for 200 or even 300 naira in this country?
Thank you, Andrew. Dangote Refinery is getting the feed stock in naira, and one will expect that the petrol should sell lower than what it's selling today. Since we have been able to intermediate the dollar.
The NNPC said it paid in dollar to get the product from Dangote. So,
Andrew, you agree with me that we are not in that transaction. So it's what they tell us that we could get. But Nigerians need to reap the benefit of having the product refined in country, and we expect the price to reduce a bit if we are exchanging, if we are selling Dangote in naira. So the effect determination should be, this intermediation should be seen in the price. What we need to start thinking is, how do we even distribute this product? Because if we continue to depend on the roads and tankers, we will still incur more cost and maybe damage. How do we get these products from Lagos to Port Harcourt through the coastal area? Those are the areas we should start discussing, and then ensure that the product is available and Nigerians will the benefit of the farming in country. We can't continue to suffer what we are also been suffering when we are importing the product. It's not acceptable, and we will work towards achieving that in the course. Yeah.
So are you saying that in the nearest in any short period of time we would see other marketers, get products from the Dangote Refinery within the month?
Yes. Affirmative, yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. John Nwoko, for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Have a great day ahead. Well, you heard from my guest. Within the month, keep fingers crossed. Well, not fingers crossed. He gave the assurance. Definitive answer. Other marketers would lift product from the Dangote Refinery. Then the question would be, at what price would they be selling? So far, 960 naira. In some areas in Port Harcourt, that's what it's going to be. Clearly, I'm not sure it's going to be the same price. I've mentioned a few local government areas where it will be difficult to sell at that same price. But we'll wait and see. In the meantime, go on Facebook and drop your comments. Let us know how much you're buying, how much you're selling, which NNPC filling station is close to you, how much are they selling. Perhaps you can give that information to Jude when he comes on Hello Port Harcourt. And now, it's a commercial. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Good morning.